Students, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with a special guest. His name is John Selmarten, and we're talking about his official term, but I can't, you got to hear it from him himself, but all the things he's doing and working on, I'm super excited to learn about. John, thank you so much for your time tonight, just to share a little bit about what you do and about your path and how you got there. The students are going to love this.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody.
What officially would you say like your title is of your specific job then?
So right now, aerospace engineer is a generic term as you get, because I really kind of touch everything.
Wow.
I get a little of everything.
I love it.
But right now I'm working on space station. So all of the science that they do up on space station goes through my group. And so we got a breadth of things we get exposed to every day. It's really cool.
Okay. Oh, I'm gigging out, man. This is great. Okay.
High school student, I was sitting around trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And our family business was moving houses. And so, picking them up, moving them across town or wherever.
Okay.
And so I got out there, started working in there, and I said, I want an indoor job. I want to be in the air conditioning at a desk. And so I went in and didn't know anything about aerospace engineering. And so learned a little about it, went to high school, learned a little bit more, learned I like math, learned I like some science. I hated some science too. I did not understand chemistry in the least bit. But eventually moved into getting ready for college, and I applied to University of Illinois, a couple others like Hawaii, because that sounded pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I got accepted in Illinois and went there for aerospace engineering, and really had a blast. Had a great teacher, several teachers, but one that really took me under his wing and started teaching me a little bit, and got me interested and got me hooked. And so ended up, graduated with an aerospace engineering degree. And so what do you do with that?
That's a great question.
Not a lot you can do out in farm country in Illinois. And so really I had an old car, and the closest NASA facility that my car would make it was Huntsville, Alabama. So go figure. Go down to Alabama to go work for NASA, and actually it was a real great experience. And 30 years ago, ended up down there and just worked around the whole area, got exposed to a lot of different activities, and then got started in payload integration, which is really just helping all the smart scientists getting their stuff ready to go off into space. And so for 30 years, I've been helping people get their activities, get their thoughts, get their experiments ready, understood, train the crew, and get them up into space.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this has to be, so a group comes with you and says, hey, we're hoping they can do this experiment. And you're trying to figure out like how much equipment, the mass, etc., the fuel, what the crew's going to do. You're kind of pulling all the strings to make sure that happens?
Absolutely. We've got up in space right now, and you might not know this, but we've had people up there continuously for 20 years up in space station. And we've been operating effectively a laboratory, just like you have at high school.
Right.
It's equipped with a bunch of generic capabilities and also some really unique capabilities. But effectively, anybody, even high school students, even middle school students, can get their experiment identified and taken up there, and you can run it and operate it.
Wow.
We can walk you through the design. We can walk you through the operational concepts and what your goals are, and take a look at what's up there already and see if we can take advantage of, maybe there's a measurement device, or maybe there's a particular window that you want to look out to go see some stars or go see the Earth or something, or maybe there's a sensor package up there that you want to measure gases or spectrometer or anything like that, and
Wow.
pair you with the right tools and capabilities, and then get you ready and get you sent up there, get the crew trained, and then just see what the results are up in limited microgravity.
Wow. So you're saying when you say up there, you're talking about the space station, correct?
Yeah, yeah. 200 miles that way.
It's crazy. That's crazy. So when you got into this, right? And I mean, obviously, this is an interesting subject. Anyone who's a dreamer, right, looking up and out. But so you end up with this degree, and I imagine it's a pretty broad idea of a lot of concepts. Did you
Yeah.
feel like your jobs kind of started steering you in certain directions, or did you feel like there was a lot of flexibility in where you could go? I'm just curious. I think a lot of people would think
Yeah,
that's a really cool thing, and there's a lot of areas you could go through. Could you kind of walk us through what that looked like
absolutely.
on maybe what you started with and where you're at, or if you stayed in the same area?
So the really cool thing is my perspective has changed a lot over the years. So when I first got out of school, it was so cool. I mean, I was just starstruck,
Yeah.
and I got up there and got a chance to go see the first, the three Apollo astronauts that first went to the moon, and got all this cool experience. And then it was, after a couple of years, wow, I can't really go anywhere. I can go to NASA, and that's about it.
Okay.
um, but to be honest, it had, the more I got into my career, the less it had to do with the specific piece of paper, the diploma that I had. It had more to do with the experiences and your approach, and how approach any problem. And
Mm,
and as you're going through, I was not a good, I said chemistry. I hated chemistry.
sure.
I can't do English. I have huge weaknesses everywhere. And I tried to work towards those. And the more you work towards those, the more opportunities that opened up. You don't get pigeonholed in one little area. And so I started as a real detailed engineer,
Okay.
right, doing equations, and I would tell the shuttle go this way and turn this way and
Oh,
rotate this way. And we had a mission that I told them 250 different attitudes to rotate and move all over the place. And when I finished that, I said, there aren't many more shuttle missions. I better start learning how to do something else. And
okay.
so I ended up, I'm not a people person at all, but I moved into leadership and moved into management. And then pretty soon I was managing a team of 50 people.
Wow.
And I had no experience at all. It was just, you attack the problem as it comes. And trust me, everybody out there can do anything you put your mind to. It is not anything to do with your capabilities. It's how you use what you've got.
Mhm.
And so don't get intimidated. Don't worry about, I didn't do good on this test, and I'm ignoring your teacher here, but don't worry about any specific little thing. It's really, as you learn, everybody has problems, or everybody has a failure. Learn from it. Make sure you come out of it understanding what happened, and try to do something different next time. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Try something different again. But
Yeah.
keep going, keep
I
pushing.
think that's wonderful advice, and I appreciate you being transparent about that. I think sometimes we think someone in your position, with NASA and sending things in outer space, like you must have never made a mistake in your life. You just
Oh,
must be
good
the
grief.
golden child that has just been like on the perfect path. And I think of all people, I think engineers know failure a lot. That's a job where you have some really difficult problems to solve, and that's why it's where it is. You guys are all working together in that.
It's incredibly complex, and absolutely right. One failure means not good things for the people up there, and and it's a very non-forgiving environment. But you have a whole team of folks, and rely on every team member that you've got. Everybody checks everybody. And so you don't discount anybody's opinion. Make sure it doesn't matter that you might be the expert in that specific area. Listen, because there's other ways to do things, and make sure that you're open and understanding. You might know exactly what has to be done, but there might be a better way to do it. And so, if the more you try to consider other perspectives, it doesn't hurt. If you may end up going your approach, long term, but you might also learn something. So
awesome. Could you talk about maybe, did you have like a highlight or one of your favorite things you worked on that you were like, yes, that was super hard, or I just can't believe I had the opportunity to work on this specific project? Is there anything that kind of stands out in your career that you really enjoyed?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question, because I've
Sorry.
loved every part of it. So let's see. I will come up with two different things.
Okay.
So probably the most impressive, I think, was when we first started developing the space station processes, and we really were starting from scratch. We didn't really understand we're going to have people up there long term. We'd come from shuttle, where people were up there for 7 days or 10 days or 12 days, short term, 2 weeks at most. And now all of a sudden we're switching to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so it's a real culture change. And so that was a real challenge to shift everybody from hack everything you can into every minute of the day, and burn people out because you're only up there 2 weeks, to take it easy. You're in it for the long haul. and so that shift in approach, I had no background in that, and how to motivate folks, and how to look at different cultures, and understand that we don't have to run for the cliff every day.
Oh,
We're going to hit the cliff.
what a rush, though! Just how much you would learn and grow through your job. I mean, you guys were pioneers. Just trying. I mean, you were the first to do that kind of stuff. What an incredible responsibility you must have felt, but also what an adrenaline rush to be a part of that.
Yeah. And really, at the time, you don't think about that kind of stuff. What you think about is, how do I fix this? How do I come up with a way to do things? And really trying to figure out different perspectives, different ways to look at things. Goes back to that kind of thing. The other part is, trying to, you come back with certain biases and certain things that worked for you real well, sometimes don't work when you're put in a different situation. And so you really have to recognize, what looks good for one situation may not look so good for another. But the best part is, there's a lot of things that are stable. How you treat people, how you interact with people, the organizational skills you might have, your approach to a problem. You can stay methodical, but still work through different situations. You can be polite and respectful, and that goes a long way when working with anybody.
Yeah.
And just the key for everything is really being excited, being energized, being interested in what you're doing. And so, tell everybody, pick a career. It doesn't have to be something you think you like, but get interested. Make it into what you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you have to work somewhere, you control it. Make the most of it, and you can identify what can be done to do that. Do it.
John, yeah, you hit it on the head. Thank you so much for that. I think that's great advice for students, and when you make the best of it. And like you said, we call them soft skills, right? But really,
Yeah,
they're super important. I mean, in
they are
anything we
more
do.
important than the most of the others.
It's
Now
interesting.
the other really cool thing I worked on,
Mm.
we've had uh, up on space station. I've said we've operated up there 20 years. So we've had 100 different countries come through. We've had thousands of different experiments operated, untold number of papers and results and patents and new products and things created. But probably the most interesting, I worked on the next generation space toilet.
No way.
That was the coolest thing.
The
So,
next generation space
yeah,
toilet.
you are working with a scientist focusing on dark matter research one day, and then you're working on the space plumber.
I mean, yeah, it's amazing, right? Like, I'm so far out of your area, so I watch, my documentaries, and I never think about that. I mean, these poor guys and girls got to go to the bathroom, so,
Absolutely.
and it's a serious concern. So that's awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. That's great. That's fantastic. So, John, I really appreciate your time. We don't want to take up tons. I think you already naturally did hit on some of the great suggestions for success in any career in that. But is there anything when you were looking back or now through your journey, anything that you would suggest to our high school students that they should be doing now or looking into just to better prep them for anything or this career, or any suggestions?
I would really say stay well rounded. Um, you may, in high school and middle school coming up, you may focus on, I'm really good at this sport, or I'm really good at this skill, or I really like this teacher. Be open. Don't get focused on just that one thing. Yes, excel at it, do your best, but don't discount the other things. Make sure you stay well rounded. Think about how you can attack those areas you might not be strong in. Try to get exposed. My son, football player, big guy. He uh, football for 8 years, coming through Pee Wee and all of this other, and then all of a sudden, junior year, he went out for theater, and he loved it. He just, it was fantastic, and just expose yourself to different things, and you don't know what you're missing, to be honest. So sometimes you might not like it, but sometimes you might just really catch something that you didn't even know existed.
Oh, John, that's wonderful. Thank you. I agree. I think experiences, like you said, make you well-rounded. And I'm sure that house moving business experience you learned as a younger gent, right, probably still comes into play, some of those
Oh,
skills,
absolutely, every day.
right? So I love that. Let's not, be too narrow, but just to branch out there and be open to new things. So, but John, thank you so much. And I'm so grateful for the Gattusos for letting me introduce me into you so that we could talk in that. But best of luck. Thanks for all you're doing. You are pushing us onward and upward in the frontier, man. And from toilets on the space station, which is, the fun stuff too. But I mean, to the payloads and getting things up there. Thank you for all you do in that. This has been remarkable.
Oh, good luck to all your students too.